I'm improvising at this point. I'm just off the cuff, whatever comes to my mind, because I've made so many videos. I'm like afraid to sound repetitive, and I know some of you don't care about that, but just why does alcohol have such a grip? And it's hard to wrap your brain around, and there's so many answers to that. Sorry about the AC, by the way. It just is what it is. Why does it have such a grip? Because we're seeking a release, right? We're trying to escape reality. And the mind, it doesn't like dealing with the emotions and the thought process while sober. Like, it really hits harder, the emotional cortex. And that's why, people drink, smoke weed, do hard drugs. They want to escape that feeling. They don't want to think, right? They want to be out of their head. It's like one of the hardest things to deal with is dealing with your thoughts and emotions. And that stuff comes to the surface when you're sober, and people don't like that. But there's a bunch of emotional trauma from people's childhoods. They're trying to mask anxiety disorders, depression. It's so horrible masking anxiety and depression with alcohol or any type of drug, because it makes it 2x worse the next day. So it's like you're just making things so much worse long term. And I've always known that, but chasing that numbness, that relief, it's just a perpetual cycle, It's like purgatory. Like, so many times I'd drink and I'd get that buzz or that drunk, and I'd be like, why did I do this? This isn't even worth it. But I love that onset buzz, that numbness, that little bit of euphoria, right? Couldn't imagine hard drugs, what people feel and how they get it so addicted to it. It makes sense, That's why I just cannot bring myself to try any of that stuff. I'd be dunsy, but and it's hard being sober because you're in your feels a lot, you're in your mind a lot, and that monkey's always on your back. It's never done and over with. As far as being a year sober, it still hits me like once in a while. Like, oh man, just a drink. But you have to constantly remind yourself on where it takes you. But that grip, this probably sounds horrible with the AC running. I apologize. But that grip it has, it's fascinating. The power that like a bottle of liquor has, and how people they know better, but they won't stop. My doctor at my physical told me that she sees so many people locally that are at the end of the line with alcohol, and it's painful to her because she can talk to them till she's red in the face, but it doesn't matter. They're not going to stop, right? Unless they want to stop. But it's almost like your smoker that has lung issues and they just don't stop, and then they end up on like an oxygen tank, and they just can't kick it, even though it's like detrimental to their health, and it can really make their their last 5, 10, 15 years much more traumatic. Same goes for alcohol or any drug. Like, it really kills the quality of life. Even there's 20, 30-year-olds that are just wrecked from hard drugs. I see it all the time in YouTube videos, like young people with abscesses, and they look 20, 30 years older, and it's very depressing to see this stuff. But it's just, that grip it's wild to me. And looking back, it almost seems like that wasn't me, or like that substance there's no way it had that kind of control over me. And I wasn't even an everyday drinker, but it did. And it's crazy because, like, it's just a coping mechanism when you're You're dealing with certain things. For me, it's definitely OCD, anxiety, intrusive thoughts. I just like to be rid of them temporarily. And I replaced it with working out more. I always was a workout fiend, but like I try to focus more on into it. So like I crave the workout more than a substance. Gets my mind off thing. It makes me, things. It makes me a little tired. It's not a buzz by any means, but it's a healthy alternative. It's very tough. The grip. And it's crazy because it's just a liquid, right? But it has all the power in the world at times on some people. Same with any substance. Goes for anything. The body's very resilient, man. It's wild to me. I know some people in their late 50s drink every night to excess, and they're still ticking. But there's people that are in their 30s that die from it, Then you have a smoker, lives to 90, 2 packs a day. And then you have an athlete that dies of a heart attack at 30. So it all, it's all genetic. It's wild. Bodies can be very resilient, or you can just have the genetic lottery or the genetic deficit, to not withstand those things. Smoke and have cancer by 35. It's wild. I don't want to take the risk, though. I could pass away from any natural cause, though. Just the way life is, and I accept that. But I surely won't go to alcohol-related issues. I'm not going to go out like that. That ain't happening. Or smoking, none of that. This is not the way I'm going to go. I see people smoking every day, and I'm like, the money they could be piling up over time. But it's their life, it's their decision. And I get it because I've been there. I spent money on the stuff, and I loved it. So if they enjoy it, there comes a point where you can't really judge, because if they're enjoying it, who are you to say that it's a waste of their money? Because they're actually enjoying themselves while doing it. So you have to look at both sides of the fence. To me, it's like I could use that money for investments, assets, things I want. But in reality, if they're enjoying, I'm not saying it's healthy by any means, but if they're enjoying it, they could say to me, wow, you're wasting your time playing video games. And that could be true, but I enjoy it. And that's what life's about, right? Like people that fish, I have no interest to fish. I've done it. I mean, it's okay, but I have friends that are obsessed with it. I can't relate to wanting to fish for like therapeutic reasons, but I respect it. If they're enjoying themselves, I'm happy for them, right? But I can't go out for 8 hours and fish. I just can't. To me, it's boring. To them, it's like life-changing. They love it. They have thousands of dollars in rods. That'll never be me, but I'm not judging. And if they enjoy it, it's like me sitting back and gaming, or me hiking. I like to hike. Some people don't like to hike. Everyone has their interests and opinions, and the more you accept that, the easier life is. You can't always be in control. You can't always be right. We're all human. No one's perfect. Everyone wants to be in today's world. This is turning into like a off-topic ramble. I'm almost forgetting what I started talking about. But it's like the grip of alcohol. But, yeah, I know my pleasure seeking was from anxiety and depression. And using a substance to mask that is not good long term. It's just not. Like, I spent a lot of time in like mental havoc and reckoning the next day after drinking. It made me super miserable. Like I've talked about before, I've wasted a lot of time, and it's just not worth it. The quality of life not drinking is far better, and it still creeps up on you. Like maybe it's not worth it. Maybe it'd be better to just party and drink on the weekends. But deep down how that goes, and it doesn't matter if you're functional or not. I've been functional as a weekend binge drinker for years. It affected me in some ways with my job. I've missed work, but nothing to the point where I was like, it was detrimental to me. If it is for you, you might want to assess it a little quicker. But I was always functional, worked, had money, did what I wanted to do, but it always held me back, right? Do you want to be 100% or do you want to be 70%, right? It's detrimental, like no matter how you look at it, to your wallet, to your time spent. Then it comes back to that thing. If someone's enjoying it, then maybe that's how they want to spend their time, and I'm not going to judge that. But it doesn't mix well with me. Did I have fun? Sure. Was it a hindrance? Of course. So that's all. I just wanted to talk about the grip of it. It's fascinating. It's a liquid, and it's readily available everywhere. And it's socially acceptable. And it's crazy when you tell people you don't drink, they're just sort of shocked. Like, it's mind-blowing. I just make it easy on myself. I just go, I don't mesh well with it. I'm a degenerate on it. You know, I just say that kind of stuff, and they sort of get it. But if you say it to people that are like, if I were to go to a bar and say it, like, you'd get looked at like you're an alien, you know? And some people get uncomfortable. I remember some of my friends when I was trying to have I was having my sober sprees back in the day, and I drink water, which some people don't recommend that. I can pull it off. But I haven't done it this time around. I went to the bar or anything. Been around alcohol for like holiday events and stuff. Some people will pressure you, or they'll feel very uncomfortable. It's almost like they see what they could be in you, and they're not. They're just like blasted drunk, and they're doing the same crap, and it intimidates them and makes them feel insecure. I've seen that many times. To me, when someone's sober and when I'm drinking, like, it doesn't bother me really, honestly. But I've had people get very insecure, and it's awkward. It's like, man, they want you in that pit of misery with them. You know, misery loves company. I get people want to have a good time and get blasted, but like, if someone's trying to be sober, you should support that. You shouldn't dissuade that. You shouldn't ever. I'll never be negative towards somebody or try to pressure them if they're trying to better themselves. And in today's society, everyone wants to bring each other down, man. If you're a pedestal above them, they want to drag you down to their level or below them, and it's just sad. I'm not in competition with nobody, man. I'm in competition with myself, and the more I accept everyone has an opinion, the easier it is for me to let stuff go. Like, I get some comments, even on comedy videos, that are just like, some people are miserable. I had like some 300-some pound dude, nothing against big people, but he was just like sort of talking crap, and it's like, man, look at your life, bro. Like, you're writing hate comments when you're just overweight. You probably don't work or whatever, you know, you're just mad at life. You're projecting. A lot of times people are projecting. They're upset with themselves, and they're bringing that hatred from the inward outward, right? And you just got to accept it. There's something going on in their own life. I've been that way too, so I get it, but I'll just let people type. And if I respond, it'll be witty if I'm in the mood, and then they just don't say anything because I'll make them feel like a jackass. So yeah. It is what it is, but it's crazy. People need to invest their hate time into themselves, you know, and start caring about their actual life more than other people's lives, and like putting time into like unnecessary things. Like, gaming's great, but some people that live on games, bro, they got to put that energy into their real life because they're miserable when they get off the computer. But it is what it is. Have a good weekend.